Please come in and take our seats. No need to rush. I'm going to wait on you. She didn't even look, did she? Once again, if we could, please, everyone, come in and take our seats. It's a few moments after 8:30, and our scheduled start time is at 8:30, so we would like to begin. It's time to start the meeting of the membership of the National Auctioneers Association and to call this meeting to order. By way of introduction, my name is Spanky Assiter, the president of the National Auctioneers Association, and on behalf of the National Auctioneers Association Board of Directors, we welcome each of you once again to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Before we begin, I would adopt and entertain a motion to accept the agenda that you have in front of you. So moved by Mr. Thomas Rowell, seconded by Sandy Aldifer. Thank you, Mr. Rowell. Thank you, Mr. Aldifer, for that motion. Is there any discussion? All in favor of adopting the agenda, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed to the agenda, please say aye. Motion passes. At this time, I'd like to go over the program with you for just a few moments. As we've done in the last 3 years, the election process will begin following the National Association Foundation Annual Election and Business Meeting. If you have not received a ballot yet, you need to please go to the distribution desk right outside in the lobby. That desk did open this morning at 7:30 and will close promptly at 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. That's 30 minutes after the 8:30 scheduled meeting of the National Auctioneers Association. So once again, if you have not received your ballot, please do so now. If you did vote by absentee, you still have the right to retrieve your ballot as long as you have your name and your member number. That ballot will then be destroyed and you have the opportunity to vote here in person. Please understand, if there is a runoff, your ballot, if you voted absentee, will be counted in the original election process, but you will not have a ballot in the runoff process. So if you would like to vote today in person, retrieve your ballot. You can also do that till 9 a.m. If you have friends that are not here this morning, please contact them and let them know if they are in line at 9 a.m., they have the right to receive a ballot. If they are not in line at 9 a.m., they will not be issued a ballot. Now, please, if you would, join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will ask our past president, chairman of the board, Mr. Tom Satterlee, to lead us in that.
Please join me in a pledge to our great and wondrous flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. As many of you know, we've mourned the passing of several members since our last meeting. I would like to invite the distinguished Mr. Benny Fisher to the podium. Mr. Fisher, if you would make your way for a few moments to remember our friends, our colleagues, and our associates. He is going to read the list that we have currently, but if we have missed anyone, if you would please make your way to the microphone at the conclusion of his list and let us know of that individual's names. Brother Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. President, and distinguished members of this august board, and good morning to all of you, my colleagues and friends. This is a time that is very meaningful each year because, as has been so well said previously, next year, some of us, we know not whom, may not be here, or we may all return, and I hope we do with others to join us. but out of reverence and respect, I remember, as you do well, that just a few weeks ago in Louisville, Kentucky, the service was held to recount the life, the legacy, and the legend of course, the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. Whatever you may have thought of that person, everyone of every belief system from across the world gathered for what I thought was perhaps the most meaningful memorial I have ever witnessed, and I've witnessed a lot of them. But I think of all of the words that were exchanged by the dignitaries there in behalf of the deceased, the most telling comment of the entire day was, he lifted up more people than he knocked down. I think that would be a fitting epitaph for all of those whose names I shall recite in a moment, because each one of them, a contributing member of our wonderful family here, impacted someone in this room in a different way than some we know, some we do not know, but they deserve to be remembered because, if nothing else, they were a part of our family. So I now recite those, and as the President has said, if I omit anyone, we will certainly give you a moment at the end of the reading when I read this roster of remembrance and a memorial tribute to these whose names I will call. And I'm going to try, I didn't know what pair of glasses to wear, and I still am not sure I'll make it, but please listen and with great reverence to these names whom we lost. Thomas M. Martzell, Grand Forks, North Dakota, apology. Am I supposed to read all of the designations? I think not, in the essence of time. Dean Howard, Decatur, Tennessee. Chuck Braden, San Angelo, Texas. George C. Hunt, Gaithersburg, Maryland. William M. Colson, Nashville, Tennessee. H.D. Wilkinson, Port Charlotte, Florida. Harold E. Ellingson, Edgeley, North Dakota. Roland Reese, Waco, Texas. Aaron Cates, Angus, Ontario. David R. Maltz, Central Islip, New York. John S. Prophet III, Rainbow City, Alabama. Pat Goggins, Billings, Montana. Bob Resnick, Providence, Rhode Island. John C. Kimball, 10 Mile, Tennessee. C. A. Morrison, Grants Pass, Oregon. Garth W. Wilbur, Bronson, Michigan. Joey Glover Stallings, Lawton, Oklahoma. Ronald J. Scott, Cedar Edge, Colorado. Edward S. Burns, Monmouth, Illinois. Andrew Billig, Baltimore, Maryland. Gary H. Day, Salem, Oregon. Bill A. Dollinger, Louisville, Kentucky. Conrad Burns, Washington, D.C. William T. Adcock, Oxford, North Carolina. Stephen D. Lewis, Moorhead, Kentucky. Virgil W. Butts, Brazil, Indiana. Ronald F. Land, Houston, Texas. And that completes the list given me. If anyone from your state who was not on this list, we certainly would like you to stand and call the name of that individual so they might be included in this time of reverence and remembrance. If you'll just do it quickly, We would certainly like to hear those names whom we omitted by accident or they never were reported to us at headquarters office, probably. Yes, sir, Mr. Doyle.
John Lynch, Amityville, Long Island.
John Lynch, what? Amityville,
New York.
New York.
Benny, I think it would be appropriate for this association. I know there are folks in this room that are involved in some shape or form in law enforcement. Every day, it seems like now in this country, and I thought I would never live to see this day, law enforcement is being shot down in the street, including this morning. So I think we need to remember all of the law enforcement across this country today,
Thank you so much.
including my son-in-law.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Thank you. Mr. Pratt.
Thank you, sir. In great memory of our Hall of Fame, Archie Moody from South Carolina. I did not hear his name called. I might be absent.
No, you're right.
But what a wonderful human being. Thank you.
Over here, please, sir.
From West Virginia, Carl Miner. He was an
Carl.
auctioneer for over 60 years.
Carl Milner or Miner?
Carl Miner.
All right, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Ben Gary from Spring Hill, Tennessee.
Thank you, ma'am.
Also, Joel T. Wilson, Batavia, Ohio.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Daniel Hendricks from Malvern, Arkansas. Daniel was 22 years old and had had his auctioneer license for about 1 month.
Oh, my. Thank you. Yes, this.
Fred Frog, known as Frog, Ruth from Bondley, North Carolina. Former NAA president, I believe Hall of Fame as well. I'm sorry?
Repeat the last name, please.
Ruth, R-O-U-T-H.
R-U-T-H, Ruth. Yes, sir.
Bonnie Turner from Livonia, New York.
All right. Any others?
Phil Neuenschwander, Decatur, Indiana.
I knew that gentleman. Thank you.
Paul Akins, Boyertown, Pennsylvania.
Thank you, sir. I'm looking to the left and right, or depending on your perspective. Anyone else? We certainly don't want to. Time is important, but nothing is more important than this. All of us is not a day away. We're one breath away from either this roster or the one in which we enjoy that our names appear on today. Anyone else? If not, I'm going to ask, in great respect to all of the belief systems that are represented and your faiths, we'll take just a moment of silence and then I will conclude in behalf of all of us, just a moment of a recognition for each and everyone whose name has been called, and in deference, whatever your belief system, to someone, something higher than all of us, called by whatever name, but we are accountable. Let us bow our heads for a moment of silence. The names that have been read are they're very significant, and it's what an insufficient way for us to try to recover lives, but those memories that lodge within our hearts comprise for all of us an heritage that we shall share forever, because though they shall not pass this way again, they did, and all of us here are the better for it. We acknowledge that you, our Creator, put people on our pathway, not by accident nor by fate, but by faith, and how we engage with those lives is by large measure the greatest yardstick ever given to humanity. Let us do unto them as they would do unto us, or we would have them to do unto us. And certainly the men and the women in blue this morning Our hearts are wounded for all of the families who have lost them in the line of a service to protect us we can never repay. That certainly is inclusive for those in our military defense. I spoke this morning with a gentleman whose wife serves in our great Air Force, and they see each other only once a month, where they reunite with 4 beautiful children, because her absence from the household is abroad at a moment's notice on call to fly in the defense of those in this room. For that individual and all others whom we have remembered this day, I pray that you, in your moment of silence, acknowledge that, as I stated, the time will come, and I trust we are all ready and have lived a life that will be well told by others when we depart. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. For those of you standing in the back, there's plenty of seats over here to my left, to your far right. You're welcome to use them if you so desire. Where am I at now? At this time, I would entertain a motion to temporarily adjourn the NAA business meeting in order to allow Mr. Thur, the president of the foundation, and the foundation board to begin their meeting. Was that Matt Corso? Nope. Charles Nichols, okay. So moved by Mr. Charles Nichols, seconded right over here. The second does not need to be named. All those in favor of the motion to temporarily adjourn the National Auctioneers Association business meeting to allow the National Foundation to start and begin their business meeting, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Mr. Thur, the podium is yours. Excuse me, not Mr. Thur, President Thur.
You're very kind, Spanky, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Remind you, ladies and gentlemen, if your cell phones are not turned off, please do so and let Pokemon rest for a little while. I welcome you as president of the Auctioneers Foundation to our annual meeting, and this is the time. It is approximately 9 o'clock, and I call this meeting to order. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce the National Auctioneers Foundation Board of Trustees. These are the individuals who have worked and contributed a lot of their time and efforts to our association and our financial resources to make the foundation as successful in providing funding to NAA and, more importantly, to advance and enrich our auction community. First thing, these trustees whose terms are expiring this year in 2016, and ladies and gentlemen, if you please rise when I call your name to be recognized. J.J. Dower, remain standing. Dave Huseman, and Barbara Burnett. I appointed Barbara last year when Mike Jones was elected vice president. Also, please join me in recognizing Tommy Rowell for his years of service, particularly the last 3 during his time as executive chairman and in leading the organization this year. Those trustees will be serving for 1 more year, whose terms expire in 2017, are Marvin Henderson. Marvin, please. Marvin's here, but not here. Marvin, get up here. Also, Homer Nicholson and Jay Nitz, right down here together. And the trustees who will be serving for 2 more years include Lon McCurdy, Scott Steffes, right there, and John Dixon, who is not able to be with us today. Tom Satterley serves the NA representative. Tom, if you would stand, please, on the NFA Board of Trustees for 2015 and 16. Officers are Tommy Rowell, who served this year as your immediate past president, J.J. Dyer as your vice president, Bill Sheridan as treasurer, and I as president. I'll be explaining J.J.'s position in just a few minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give all of these folks a round of applause for all the work that they do. I feel very fortunate that I've been allowed to serve as president and to work with them in their very unselfish time and efforts. Last April, Mike Jones requested that the board allow him a leave of absence from his office as vice president due to expanded work opportunities through United Country. And Mike has been a very, very committed individual for our association and our foundation, devoted much time and finances to the foundation, requested that he be allowed to stay on the trustees, but felt this attention should not be devoted to the presidency during the next year. We appreciate his remarks and his candor, so as a result, J.J. Dyer has agreed to step up and serve the remainder of this year as vice president, and he'll be a candidate for president this next year. In essence, he and Mike have just traded roles and positions. As you will hear later, Mike will be seeking another term as trustee to complete this picture and give Mike the flexibility he needed. And Tommy Brown has also agreed to come back and serve as vice president and the membership desires. We have had this election, we'll talk about this election in just a minute. I'm going to digress from this a minute. They asked me to serve again as chairman of the board, and I said twice as NA president was enough. So I thank Tommy for stepping up and filling that role. I want to thank each of you for your support of the foundation. Your donations have allowed us to expand our scholarship program. Last December, 3 individuals received the scholarships to the Designation Academy: Cody Asness, David Allen, Amy Laughlin, Brian Schaefer. And this year at CAI, we were able to partially fund 2 individuals in CI1 and 2 in CI2. Sarah Adams, Elizabeth Monteson, Drake, Trey Morris, and Chris Vaughn. And this year at Conference 3, first-time attendees were here because of the generosity of the foundation and of you as members, those being Sissy Tabor, Wendy Grimm, and Oliver Stephanus. Any of those individuals I just named that received scholarships, if you're present, would you please stand and be recognized? Again, you as our donors are the ones to be commended for helping these and other individuals experience the great times and experience being an NA member. This year we have a very special surprise. Some of you may or may not know, but there was a poster that was in the foundation booth. And I'm going to ask the AV people to put up a presentation. I think we're ready for that. It's above me, okay. This year, some of you know, let's back up. In 2008, Waiting for the Hammer to Fall was produced, and many of us have that in our library in our office. But this year is working in partnership with the NAA. We provided are going to provide a revised edition of that at no cost to you as a member. This is a book that has a value of $50 or more, and it's brought to you by all of you as foundation donors, and it has much of educational content that we all can use and certainly help our businesses grow. This book right now is being edited as we speak, and we expect this to be ready to go out to our members in November. And again, this is the first time this book has been rewritten since 2008. We hope this will be a valuable piece of book that you will want to keep in your library and use it on a regular basis. Now I'd like for Mr. Bill Sheridan, our treasurer, to come forward, if he would please, and give us our financial report. Bill?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, members of the National Auctioneers Foundation and the National Auctioneers Association. This morning, I'd like to report to you on the Foundation's finances. Our fiscal year begins June 1st in 2015 and ended May 31st of 2016. I cannot tell you how gratifying it is to deliver a very strong financial statement to you good folks. And with that, before I go into it, I'd just like to say thank you. I've made several phone calls, and I know many board members have, and we want you all to know that it isn't the amount that you write on that check, it's the fact that a check comes in. And we appreciate that a lot. And we are very, very conscious of the fact that our role in this organization is to provide support for the greatest industry in the world, the auction industry. Last year, your board of directors of the foundation again employed Maher & Company to conduct the audit of the National Auctioneers Foundation for the 2014 and 15 fiscal year in order to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements were free of material misstatement. This audit included assessing the accounting principles that were used and significant estimates made by management and overall financial statement presentation. After this careful examination, Maher & Company did determine that the National Auctioneers Foundation is in conformity with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America, and copies of that audit are available on our website, and that is auctioneersfoundation.org. We also have several copies of that audit in the back of this room. And I would like to, and I know Hannes and I are together on this, and Tommy Rowell and I work together in my transition as treasurer. We'd like to personally thank Rhonda Tuitt for her work with the financial statements of the foundation. She has been wonderful to work with, and we have appreciated it. She spends a lot of time making sure that our financials are in very, very strong shape and ready for the audit. I'm happy to report to you that the audit is clean with no exceptions. Our fiscal year that ended on May 31st of 2016, I am very pleased to report to you that on behalf of the Board of Trustees that the foundation ended its fiscal year in very good and sound conditions. Just a few of these highlights I'll review. Our total revenues for the last fiscal year were $196,643.88. Our total expenses were $102,872.31, generating a net revenue for the foundation of $93,771.57. The National Auctioneers Foundation Board of Trustees are very committed to ensuring that the National Auctioneers Foundation remains true to its vision and mission statements in order to provide funding to the National Auctioneers Association to advance and enrich the auction community. The Finance Committee is very, very serious about striving to be good stewards of your invested dollars. Your previous support is greatly appreciated, and your future support is necessary in order to guarantee successful achievement of these objectives. Thank you. I'll be available till the end of the convention. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to visit with him. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill deserves a round of applause for the many hours he's put in. As you know, in the last few years, the foundation has basically gone out to our members with one appeal for your donations. We are going to ask you now to consider giving to the foundation to help us. So we have asked the 2013 IAC champion, Lynn Zink, and the 2015 World Automobile Auctioneer champion, Bobby D. Ehlert, both outstanding benefit auctioneers, as well to help us. Lynn, Bobby D., you are on. Come forward, please. Give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
We're here to join together to raise as much money as we can for the National Auctioneers Foundation.
Donations turn into scholarships.
And scholarships turn into education.
And education leads to enlightened, energized auction professionals.
Your gifts transform communities, elevate our profession, and change people's lives.
And this all begins by passing it forward.
When I say auctioneers helping auctioneers, everyone yell, aha.
Aha!
The NAA has 100% changed my life. I came to my first conference and show in 2012, and since then, it has been sky's the limit.
I think that the education is very intense, but it's very intentional to help all the students really grow their businesses.
The first year, it was like drinking out of a fire hose. You get so much information, and it's so valuable.
The learning is so focused.
If you're not keeping up with what's happening in the industry, you're not going to be in the future of the industry.
In some ways, the GPPA course taught me more that can help me in my future and my career than being in college.
The relationships, the communication, and everybody's willingness to share and make everybody better in the process.
When I heard from the NAA that I had received the scholarship, it was really a big relief, just because I'm a young professional in the industry and it's really important to me to go to all these classes, but it's a pretty big financial undertaking for me to be able to come to CAI.
Over those 3 years, it can get expensive. Is the investment worth it? Absolutely.
It kind of alleviated a little bit of that financial burden, which of course can make you a little bit apprehensive.
But when you can relieve some of that financial burden, I think it gives you a better chance to focus on your career goals.
CAI not only gives you the tools, you're building that community, but you're also giving yourself the energy.
Ways to promote my business, protect my business, grow my business.
Person-to-person interactions that beyond just the lectures, but kind of when the rubber hits the road, how can I bring this down to the street where I live?
I'm booking more benefit auctions. Those are helping me do it. I feel very confident that that's what put me kind of on the next level.
So I've seen increases in my actual auctions. I've seen the quality of the product that I'm producing, I think, has been better as well.
The success is that their confidence level was to the point where they were brave enough to go out and seek it.
So the ultimate goal for me would be to be a big donor to the NAF and do for someone else just as it's been done for me.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be where I am in the auction business without the NAA.
We want the whole entire industry as professional as we can be.
We genuinely want to help each other.
I want to get to the point where I can give back and where I can do this for someone else.
Your gifts are transforming their lives and so many auction professionals.
And at this time, we each have an opportunity to make a gift at a level that's meaningful to each of us.
And everyone has a Pass It Forward card. And as we mention our levels of giving, would you please raise that card in the air, fill it out, and then pass it to the aisle?
And I'm really excited to say, to start us off, Devin Ford has made a generous gift of $2,500 to start that off. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. Who would like to join Devin at the $2,500 level? If you would like to, all you need to do is raise your card, and there's another $2,500 right there.
All right.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else at the $2,500 level? All you need to do is raise your card, and they will come around and collect that.
Now we have Will Sheridan is going to contribute $2,500.
Thank you, Bill Sheridan. Thank you so much.
Bill, thank you very much.
And was that all, Mike Jones right up front here also. Thank you, Mike.
And Sandy Hollifer donates $2,500 to the National Auctioneers Foundation.
Thank you, Sandy. From the Nitz family, $2,500. Thank you so much. And also JJ and Tracy at $2,500. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, these keep coming in. The McCurdy family at the $2,500 level.
Isn't that great?
And Scott Steffes joins him at $2,500. We're raising some money, aren't we?
That's great.
So now, as you'll see on your cards, there's many levels to give, and we have some great donors at the $1,500 level. We have Miss Kathy Kingston's going to join us at $1,500. Scott Schumann at $1,500. Hannes Combes has made a donation of $1,500. And then Tim Luke as well.
We have even more at the $1,500 level. Merle Booker. Thank you, Merle. And Tommy Rao, right over here. Scott Mahalik. Also David Hart and Penny Worley, all at the $1,500 level. Isn't that wonderful?
Now, I've had two cards just handed to me, Darren and Hope Mears at the $1,500 level. And then also we have an anonymous gift of $2,500 that just came in. We have their member number.
$2,500. And it looks like here comes another one. There we go.
Oh, Tommy and Trudy Williams right there at $1,500 again.
Thank you. Look at the money we're
That is
raising.
beautiful.
And you know, this money that we are raising here, it doesn't go just to CAI. It helps to give people scholarships to be able to attend this wonderful conference and take all those wonderful courses, the AARE, CAI, well, CAI also, but all these wonderful designations.
That's right. The designation courses, GPPA, BAS, all of them, your dollars are helping provide scholarships. Your buddy, our buddy, everybody's buddy, Benny Fisher, right there at $2,500.
Thank you, Benny.
And then the Booker Auction Company as well at $1,500.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. And you know, I think you had a couple of that at the $1,250
Oh, that's right.
level.
As you'll notice on your cards there, you do have the $1,250 level. That's just about $100 a month, ladies and gentlemen. And David Huseman and Janine Huseman are going to give it that level this morning.
And guess what? We just had another card come up. Brian Cooper has just made one at the $1,250 level also.
Oh my gosh,
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you do not have to give at those levels. You can give at any level. Now, I've made a contribution at the $1,000 level, and I'm so proud to give to the National Auctioneers Foundation. And you can also give monthly if you're not able to write a check today. That's how I'm giving. My credit card is billed monthly. It's very easy, and it's very smooth.
And
Randy Reuter at $1,500.
thank you, Randy. And also, Craig Beauford, I hope I'm saying your name right, was also a $1,250 donation. Thank you, Craig. And here's two more. My hands are full.
Well, they keep coming in.
This is great.
Oh, we have Scott Musser at $1,250, as well as Harold Musser.
Oh, okay, from the Musser family.
The Musser family, they both give $1,250, Lynn.
That's wonderful.
Oh, my gosh, they keep stacking up.
And, you know, and I also want to say, we want to continue saying thank you. And when Bobby D was talking about the $1,000 level, Sherman Hostetter was at that level, and Brandon Harker, who also made $1,000 gifts, and we want to thank them too. And you know, earlier on, Sandy Aldifer had stepped it up on that one, so we thank you, Sandy, for increasing your gift.
Now, remember that anonymous gift that came in at $2,500? We're going to attach a name to it. Marvin Henderson gave the $2,500. Marvin, thank you so much.
Thank you, Marvin. Thank you so much. The Wyoming Auctioneers Association by Shelley and Musser. Okay, and that is at the $1,000 level also. Thank you, Shelley, and the Wyoming Auctioneers.
The gifts keep coming in. Susan Johnson right there. Susan, thank you for the $500 level. Butch Booker at the $500 level.
And I have Randy Eli at the $500 level also.
I have a $1,000 gift from an anonymous donor. We have their member number. And then our friend Jack Christie right there at the $1,250 level. Joe R. Wilson at $500.
This is wonderful.
This
And
keeps
another
going.
$500. And I'm really sorry if we say a name incorrectly, but Carl and Dina Ratty, thank you so much for your gift. Thank you.
Now, there are a few members that are with us. There's actually quite a few members that are with us on their first time here at Conference and Show, and your gifts have provided them that opportunity. If you think back to that first time you were at Conference and Show and how much it impacted your life, your gifts right now are impacting theirs, and many more in the future because of what you're doing here this morning.
And,
we got some more coming
and
in.
as we keep seeing all these cards coming in, Homer Nicholson, is making a $500 gift also. Thank you, Homer. We appreciate your gift.
Kurt and Kelly Amon at the $1,250 level.
And Larry Thurer, he's at the, let's see, the $750 level. Thank you.
And we have our IAC champion, Peter Garris, at $500. Peter, thank you.
And Rex Schaefer, Schreier.
I have Christine Flatabo
1,000.
Dunnick at $500.
At that one, yes.
John Schultz, an instructor, $250. Your gifts are helping us improve the education and leading us into the future.
And John Roebuck and Bracky Rogers both have made a $500 gift. Thank you so much. Thank you for those gifts.
And we have Chuck Sutton at $1,000. And then Kim, say it for me, Kim Boucher. Kim Boucher, thank you so much, at the $250 level. Now, Lynn, you know what? We could do this all morning. So,
really
ladies and
could.
gentlemen,
I was thinking.
wait a minute. Mickey Fowler, $2,500.
Thank you. And
So now, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to continue to give this morning, you can continue to give on those cards and keep making those generous donations, any level. Now, I think we have, what's our final level that we can
the
give?
The final level is a very special level that Benny Fisher came up with. Benny Fisher came up with $144, and it's for a year, the 12 by 12 plan, $12 a month for 1 year equals the 144. Benny Fisher, thank you for coming up with such a wonderful idea to help auctioneers. So if you would like to give it the $144 level, feel free to fill out your card at that level, and we have the volunteers coming around to collect those cards.
That's right. Now, if you wanted to give it a level that we haven't mentioned, you know that every dollar counts for the NAF, but not just for the NAF. This is our industry that we're giving to. So if you'd like to continue to give, or maybe give anonymously this morning, or throughout the rest of conference and show, you can take that Pass It Forward card and pass it in at the National Auctioneers Foundation.
And it's so exciting and heartwarming to see the generosity of the auctioneers, because as we started this earlier, we were saying auctioneers helping auctioneers, which you did. Aha! And we want to thank you for all of your generosity.
That is beautiful. The cards keep coming in. Look at this. Look at this.
Look
They
at
keep
all
stacking
these.
up. So now, folks, I have one more opportunity. Now, Terry and Pat Dunning are making a donation here this morning, and it's more of a symbol of what this auction family brings. In 1999, the last time Conference and Show was here in Grand Rapids, the NAF was selling, where is that? Look at this. This beautiful crystal gavel. In 1999, Terry and Pat purchased this to help us raise money for scholarships, and they're donating this back to the NAF this morning. Lynn Zink, would you do the honor of auctioning this gavel off?
I would, my pleasure to sell this wonderful gavel and help raise even more money.
Lynn,
Who would like to start? Yes.
I'd like to make a comment. There were only 50 of these made celebrating the 50th anniversary. We have numbers 19 and 23. They so graciously donated. So you have a chance to buy some history, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Help yourself.
All right. Who would like to start us up at $100? 100 would get 100. 100 now 200. 200 now 300. 3 would get 3 here now 4. 400 would get 400. Up to 400 now 500. 5 would get 5. 500 would get 500. 500 would get 500. 400 now 500. 500 would get 500 back here, and now 600. 600 would get 600. 600 would get 600. 500 back here, now 600. 600 now 700. 700 would get 700. 700 would get 700. 600 now 7. 700 would get 700.
Wait,
600.
there's only 50 of these made.
Only 50. And we're at 600. Did you say 700 here? Now 800. 800 would give 800. 800 now 9. 9 and a 9 and a 9. $900. 900 would be 900. 900 now $1,000. 1,000 now 1,100. 1,100 1100. 1,100 now 1,200. 1,200 would be 1,200. 1,200 would be 1,200 now 1,300. 13 would get 13. 13 would get 13. 1,300 would get 1,300. 1,200 now 13. 13 would get 13. Raising a lot of money here. 1,200 now 13. 1,300 would get 1,300 now 1,400. 1,400 now 1,500. 15 would get 15. 15. We like this better. 1,500 1,500.
Come on, Phil, you can do it.
1,500 with 1,500. 1,400 now 1,500. 1,500 and now 1,600. 1,600. 1,600 now 17. 17 would get 17. 1,600 now 17. 1,700 with 1,700. 1,600 now 1,700. 1,600 17. Sold your way, Jay. Mike Jones buys it for $1,600. Bidder number 736. And also, George, would you check in? Go back there. Well, we would like to ask you, We want to raise as much money as we can. We just sold one for $1,600. And did you know that the Dunnings wanted us to raise extra money? And you can have this gavel for $1,600. And he is in. Sold. $1,600. What's your number? Okay.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the future of the NAA is in the room with us this morning. And a young man, Jackson Mears, is making his first donation to the NAF. Right there, Jackson, right there. He's given at the 12 by 12 level, $12 a month, $144 a year. Jackson, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jackson. Bidder number 664, for those who are recording this, bidder 664 is the one who bought the other gavel for $1,600, which helped us raise an extra $3,200. So thank you to the Dunnings. Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, auctioneers, auction professionals, friends in my auction family, thank you so much for giving to this great foundation that helps us all.
And we're excited to see how much more money we have raised, so thank you. We appreciate all of your generosity. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is an aha moment. Aha. Will be interesting to see how we total up over here. Hannes's computer mind is at work. No. Again, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the foundation, we say thanks to all of you contributing. The next time you hear of someone wanting to go to CAI or a designation class, remind them there's scholarships available, and we hope to make more of them available, and because of your generosity, we will be able to do so. I'd like to now move on to the election portion of our meeting, and this past spring we realized that our bylaws were in need of some major renovation, and to that end we'll be making this a priority when we have our meeting this fall to discuss rewriting the bylaws. The voting procedures have been rather ambiguous, so the Board of Trustees I've come up with the following procedure as we have kind of done pretty much in the past. A slate of candidates for Vice President, Treasurer, if applicable, and trustees will be presented to the membership for review and approval at the annual business meeting. These candidates have all been vetted by the Executive Committee. If the slate of candidates does not have any contested positions, the membership will be asked to affirm the slate of candidates by voice vote. There will be no nominations taken on the floor or any absentee ballots permitted. For 2016-17, we have no contested elections. I'd like to recognize your 2016-17 President of the National Auctioneers Foundation, J.J. Dyer. J.J. will talk a little bit more about the things that he expects to see happen in the foundation. As we've already mentioned, Tommy Rowell has agreed to put his name in the candidacy for Vice President. Tommy, please. Our treasurer position, Mr. Bill Sheridan, will be serving the third year of his 3-year term. There's no election necessary for this year. Bill, again, thank you. Give him a nice hand. We have 3 individuals who have agreed to serve as director for another 3-year term: Dave Huseman, Barbara Burnett, and Mike Jones. And thank all of you for agreeing to serve, and it means a lot to the future of the foundation. So would you 3 please stand again? At this point, I would like to affirm the election of Tommy Rowell as Foundation Vice President, Dave Huseman, Barbara Burnett, and Mike Jones to the Board of Trustees. Could I please have a motion to do so?
Mr. President, I move that we affirm the election of Tommy Rowell as the National Auctioneer Foundation Vice President, Dave Huseman, Barbara Burnett, and Mike Jones to the Board of Trustees.
And do I hear a second? Second, Jay Nitz. We'll complete this selection procedure by a show of hands. All those in favor of affirming the election of Tommy Rowell as Foundation Vice President, Mike Jones, David Huseman, and Barbara Burnett to the Foundation Board, signify by raising your right hand, please. All opposed, the same manner? Looks like unanimous. Motion carried. Thank you all very much. And congratulations again to Tommy, Mike, Dave, and Barbara for agreeing to serve another term. And would you please give them one more round of applause? I would like to now ask J.J. Dyer to come forward. He'll be serving as the president for the next coming year, and he has a few comments he'd like to share with us. J.J.?
Thank you, Larry. Before you sit down here, I would like to recognize Larry for not just his service this year, but during his entire career. The organization is now stronger than ever before. Therefore, on behalf of the National Auctioneers Foundation trustees, I would like to present you with this plaque that reads, Larry Thurr, President, National Auctioneers Foundation, 2015-2016. Congratulations, Larry. Well, all of you know, Larry alluded to it earlier, that Larry served twice as president of the NAA during a tragedy crisis, but I can guarantee you that I am the shortest vice president in the history of any NAF, NAA, or anything else. Don't take that, don't misunderstand my commitment to this association and this organization. The foundation is special. From its beginning, 30 years ago, it's grown to an almost $1 million in assets. That's no small change. Because of your donations, we are helping people succeed in the industry by providing them access to education that they wouldn't have been able to take otherwise. That makes me proud, and it should make all of you all proud. And now, on to the newly revised edition being sent to you in October and November, waiting on the hammer to fall, as Larry mentioned earlier. The foundation can definitely boast of being able to help educate all auction professionals within the NAA. That's what we want to do. That's what we've always existed for, just to help. I don't plan to do anything different this year with the foundation. It's on the right path. Your donations are making a difference. With the policies and procedures we have now in place, we can be assured that the money you're donating are being used for the purpose you want to fund. We are raising money, we are spending money in ways that you want us to. Why would I change something successful? I promise you, though, that I will do my best to keep your money safe and continue the path of spending in ways that makes the most sense. With the board you are electing, you can be assured that this will be the case. Thank you for the honor of electing me president. Let's keep the foundation moving forward. Thank you.
I failed to mention earlier that your foundation now, ladies and gentlemen, we have over $1 million in the foundation account. Thanks to all of you. And as our treasurer so well stated, we on this board are very conservative. We're very concerned how that money is spent. We try to be good keepers and guardians of it on behalf of you and the rest of our membership. I'd like to open this meeting up now. Is there any new business that anybody wants to bring before the membership? Awful quiet, isn't it? Seeing none, I will declare this meeting of the foundation closed, but I ask you to remain in your seats for the installation ceremony. And I'm going to ask Sandy Alford, a former president of the foundation, to come forward to lead us through the oath of office. We ask all of the board members to stand down front for the giving that oath. If you would, Sandy, you're going to stay right over there. The rest of us need to go down front.
Yeah,
oh, yes. Take your papers and come back and get them.
And I would only encourage anyone that wants to get involved in really a great, great board. It is a volunteer and a giving board from day one, okay? Everyone travels, and so, you know, the Lord loves a gracious giver, and this foundation is made up of that. So who do we got coming? We should have 5 this morning. Barbara Lon, JJ, Dave, Mike, Tommy. Great. And the rest coming back on. It is my pleasure and privilege to officially install you as officers and directors of the National Auctioneers Foundation Board of Trustees. I congratulate you on the opportunity which has been given to you to serve this great organization. I know that you will be faithful in the performance of your duties, looking always to the interest and welfare of the National Auctioneers Foundation as a whole. And if you would, please raise your right hand. That's it. Hey, you did all right. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the office to which you have been elected, conforming to the articles of the incorporation and the bylaws of the National Auctioneers Foundation? If so, please respond, I do. Great. May I extend my personal congratulations and thanks to each of you for your work you've done. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the officers and directors of the National Auctioneers Foundation. Good looking bunch. And now, Hannah says, please take a short 5-minute break. That means don't leave the room. Break as we prepare to reconvene the NAA business meeting. Have a great week.
Once again, if we could take our seats, we on our time schedule, please. There are plenty of seats to my far left, your far right. If you're standing in the back, there are plenty of seats available. So as our first motion of business, I would like to start the election. I'd like to start the election now. We have one that is not on your ballot. I would like to move that by unanimous decision, we move. At this time, I would like to call the National Auctioneers Association Annual Business Meeting back into session. So if I could have your kind attention, please. We are moving back into session. First, I'd like to thank the National Auctioneers Foundation and all the work that they've accomplished this year. Their board of directors, they have, because of your support and the dedication and the hard work of those members, you have continued to become a more professional industry and organization. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, JJ. And more importantly, thank you to the entire board. I'd like to also thank Bobby D. and Lynn Zink for their contributions this morning. And if you are still in the process of considering a donation, it's not too late. Lois, she was right over here. Zelensky. Lois was right over there. I guess she's moved out to the foundation booth. If you'd like to visit with Lois and still continue to give a donation, talk to your spouse or whatever you need to do to make that decision, she'll be more than happy to take that donation at the foundation booth. Now it is my privilege to introduce those seated at the head table this morning. The members the Board of Director members whose terms are expiring this year, 2016, Joseph Mast. You can wave or stand up. And Scott Schumann. Go ahead and stand up. They'll never know the difference. To those expiring in 2017, Tim Mast, over here, my left, and David Whitley. To the directors expiring in 2018, Matt Corso. Of course, when I look to my left, they're on my right, and when I look to my right, they're on my left. And Will McLemore. Individuals serving on the executive committee include J.J. Dower as the foundation's representative, Jason Winter as the chair of the Education Institute trustees, Devin Ford, the treasurer, John Nichols, the 2015-16 vice president, and Tom Satterlee, the past president for 2015 and 16. Sit down, you're tall enough we can see you. And of course, yours truly, myself, Spanky Assiter. Now to begin with our business. Oh, thank you very much. As we have had in the past few years, there will be no comments from the floor unless it's in the form of an official motion. As many of you were there yesterday, we gave ample time for those comments, concerns, and questions at the town hall meeting. But if you are going to make in new business an official motion, if you would please make your way to the microphone so we can hear and state your name and the state where you reside. Copies of the 2015 annual business meeting, last year's business meeting, are available at the tables in the back and in the lobby. Please understand that the summaries of the board meetings and also all the financial records are available online at auctioneers.org. The first order of business this morning would be to approve the 2015 National Auctioneers Association minutes. Unless there are revisions to this document, they will stand as presented. Are there any revisions, corrections to the minutes of last year's annual business meeting? Hearing none, they will stand as presented, Ms. Combest. Now it is time to begin the election process. Information about the process, outlining how the election process works, were available this morning where you received your ballots. This year, Mr. Tim Luke served as the chair of the election committee. And now, if I could please invite Mr. Tim Luke to deliver his committee's report.
Yes, sir. Oh, thank you.
Schumann, where's your box?
I know. I'm a little shorter. Scott, you know that. I'm a little teapot, right? Short, no. Hannes is already upset. I'm off script. Okay, so we're going to start. Good morning, everyone. This year, we will have one ballot. Candidates are listed in their speaking order. All active and retired members are entitled to vote. You must have returned your absentee ballot by July 1st and picked up your ballot this morning at the election station. Our election process states that only the candidates can speak on their own behalf. The speeches made by the officer candidates are limited to 5 minutes, and the director candidates are limited to 3 minutes each. The speaking order was determined by a random draw by Tom Satterley and Spanky Assiter at the April board meeting, with NAA staff assisting them. The results of the speaking order were announced yesterday at the opening session. As noted, we have one candidate for vice president and 4 candidates for 2 director positions. The officer position will be elected by a majority vote, and the director positions shall be elected by a plurality vote. In the case of a tie, there will be a runoff vote between the tied candidates. You will also see that in your ballot packet, there are 2 ballots, one with a star, so double check. You have a star at the bottom, and one without a star. When we have the first vote, please, this is very important, please use the ballot with the star. Say it with me now. Use the ballot with the star, because if you don't, it will be disqualified and invalid. So please double check, make sure that you have the ballot with the star. That is the one we need to use. If you don't have a complete ballot packet, please go to the back of the room. I'll help you out, get you a ballot packet. You should have that. This year, we had 151 absentee ballots sent in and 423 ballot packets picked up here this morning on site. President Assiter, that concludes my report.
Teapot. Flustered me so much I didn't even sit in my seat. I kind of want to be with the lonesome survivor and just throw this script away. I'm so flustered now. All right, thank you, Tim. We appreciate that so very much. So, take over if you would, please. Since he's short in a teapot, what the hell are you?
And some of you thought you wanted to be in Cleveland. Thank you, President Assiter.
You're welcome.
I stand before you as the chairman of the nominating committee. And first, I would like to thank the following individuals who served on this committee: President Spanky Assiter, Peter Garris as vice chair of the Education Institute trustees, Mike Jones as a representative from the foundation, and Bill Sheridan from Michigan as a representative state association leader. This group was charged with working with the board to identify the competencies needed by the board, then developing a full slate of candidates by March 1st, screening candidates' eligibility and fit into the board matrix of competencies and pursuant to the association bylaws, endorsing up to a maximum of 2 candidates per position. We began meeting via conference call last fall to develop the board matrix in order to best understand how the candidates' competencies fit with what we needed. A questionnaire was included with the candidates' application. Then after March 1st, the nominating committee interviewed all candidates, and each affirmed their understanding of the expectations of their office, and we discussed the skills they bring to the board. After careful consideration, discussion, and debate, the following candidates are submitted with the endorsement of the nominating committee. For Vice President, the nominating committee endorses the following candidate by speaking order: Scott Schuman, CAI, for Vice President. For Director, the nominating committee endorses the following candidates listed in speaking order: Tricia Brower, CAI, BAS; Scott King, CAI, ATS; Denise Rinaldi, CAI; Jason Winter, CAI, AARE. There are no candidates running without the endorsement of this committee. I personally would like to thank all the members of the nominating committee for their time, dedication, and perseverance. And all of the committee would also like to thank the members who put forth their name in consideration. Because of this process, because of this work, and because of the dedication of the candidates, the NAA is strong because of their willingness to serve. Mr. President, this concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to all your committee. And just by clarification, if we have any questions or concerns from the Elections Committee, I'm sure Tim will be more than come back and help us straighten those out. So I want to go back and reiterate what Tim has said. The election process requires that the candidates' names be posted on the screens to my right and to my left. You'll also see that it is the ballot with the star. Make no mistake, use the ballot with the star. A number will be placed by each candidate's name, and your ballot will have the candidate's name listed in speaking order on the bottom right. Now, before we begin, I would like to accept a motion to elect John Nichols as president by acclamation. So moved by Mr. Tom Satterley. Second is not required. Please understand, all in favor of electing John Sissy Dog Nichols as president of the National Auctioneers Association, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Congratulations, John Nichols, 2000. Now for the election of the remaining officers and directors' positions. For Vice President, we have one candidate, Scott Schuman. In accordance with the election procedures, each candidate for Vice President has the opportunity to speak for 5 minutes. I have asked Ms. Hannes Combes to not only be the timekeeper for the Vice President, but also for the directors. Ms. Combes, at 1 minute remaining, will lift a card. At 30 seconds remaining, she will lift an additional card. The third card will be when time's up, and then if the candidate does not stop speaking, she will stand. So, at this time, I would like to give Mr. Schuman the opportunity to speak for his candidacy for 5 minutes. Scott Schuman.
Thank you, Spanky. In 2013, many of you voted for me for director, and some of you did so because I was standing up on top of Milk Crate. I was using that as a prop, but what most of you didn't recognize or probably didn't know is it really wasn't a prop at all. I kind of needed it to see up over the podium, but it's good that Tim Luke came up here before me, so I feel much better about that. But it's very exciting for me today to have the opportunity to stand before you and be considered to follow behind so many great leaders of the NAA. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to learn from and work with so many of you, and I've learned so much from you, and I appreciate that. It's particularly exciting to follow through the chairs behind John Nichols and Spanky Asseter. And I think many of you know these guys or maybe feel like you know them, but I thought I'd just take a few minutes today and maybe share a little bit more of their lives and give you more of an insight to these guys. You know, in fact, how many of you know that Spanky raises chickens? Several of you. Okay, well, one day, Spanky decided he wants to take some of his chickens to town. So he takes a bag and starts putting those chickens in town, and he starts walking to town. He runs into John. John said, "What's in the bag, Spank?" Spank says, "Well, the finest chickens in all of Texas." John, as sharp as he is, John says, "Well, Spank, if I can guess how many are in the bag, can I have one?" Spank says, "John, if you can guess how many are in the bag, you can have both of them." So John says, "Great, I guess 3. I really shouldn't pick on these guys, though. I mean, ever since the very first day that Spanky became president of the organization, he's shown his true leadership skills. The first day he walked into the national headquarters, and he sees a guy leaning up against the wall, just minding his own business, doing nothing. Spank says, "Son, what are you doing?" The guy says, "Nothing." Spanky says, "You know, how much do you make a week?" The guy says, $250. Spanky pulls out his wallet. He said, "Here you go. Here's $1,000. 1 month's pay. Get out of here. We don't need you around here. We're shaping things up around this organization." The guy walks out the door. He turns to Hannes and he said, "Who was that guy anyway?" And she said, "That's our pizza delivery boy." I guess what I'm trying to say is with the affirmation of your vote today, I believe I can try to keep these guys in line and try to move us on down the right path. It's been fascinating to have a career in this industry. I've had the opportunity to solve problems for sellers throughout the nation, whether it be selling a tractor or a home, a farm or a house or a box lot. I've learned from and I've cherished every moment. During my career, I've led the charge in selling some of the nation's largest properties. I've worked with celebrities. I've worked with the uber wealthy. I've been able to watch kids in the county fair sale ring with tears in their eyes as I had a small part in helping to make their dreams come true. I've sold $5 pies and I've sold $100,000 guitars. But the most enjoyable memories for me were those that changed lives. Many times after a benefit auction, the group goes on and they celebrate having a great gala, while we as the auctioneers maybe slip out the back door. Sometimes we feel a little bit unappreciated. But you know, when we walk out, we always know that we've changed lives and we've helped to make a difference. That's what I really, really love about this profession. I've enjoyed the last 3 years serving as director. I've enjoyed visiting with many of you at your state conventions. I've enjoyed judging your contests, learning from you and discussing how we can make our industry better. I've learned that our country is filled with auctioneers who are also leaders and innovators. Just like the 7 auctioneers who came together in 1949 to form the NAA, they came together with a purpose to promote the auction method of marketing, to learn from each other, and to hold each other accountable. I'm sure they wouldn't be able to fathom how far this organization has come. I began my remarks with poking a little fun at our current president and vice president. My true thoughts are that these guys have done an extremely impressive job in navigating the NAA ship. Like the leaders before them, they are innovators and they're filled with courage. I'm incredibly blessed to have an opportunity to have my name on the same list or even mentioned in the same breath as these guys. To say I have a platform of change would not be correct, as my platform is to carry on the traditions of our past presidents and to continue to work every day to better promote, better advocate, and better educate our members. I'm humbled that I'm considered a candidate for vice president of our great organization, today I'm asking for your vote of confidence. Thank you.
Thank you, I think, Mr. Schuman. For our director, as stated, we have 4 candidates, 2 of which can be elected today. Those 4 candidates will each have 3 minutes with the same timekeeper and card process. Our first candidate, Tricia Brower.
Imagine as kids if we had listened to the advice from our parents. Many of us would have avoided learning more than one life lesson the hard way. For me, it was when my parents would say, "You want to be an auctioneer?" I told them I did not, yet this became a reoccurring theme in my life. And I knew the only way that that conversation would ever stop would to be to go to auction school. So off I went. Today my parents are here and I'm hesitant to look at them because I can feel the parental I told you so look coming my way. And I was right. So to you, Mom and Dad, I say thank you, and you were right. During auction school, I saw opportunities I had never imagined. At the time, I was a marketing director, and what I realized is that no matter how hard I worked, I would always be limited by the visions of someone else. I joined the NAA, and my life forever changed. I realized auctions were not only a way to make a living, but a way to make a life. I had finally found a career and a lifestyle with no limits. Since joining the NAA, I have been passionately involved. I've served on numerous committees, volunteered my time and talents at conferences and shows and at summits. As a BAS instructor, I've had the privilege to assist hundreds of auctioneers either break into our industry or expand their businesses. I have personally lived and witnessed the power of the NAA. Our leadership has established an effective path to 2020, and I am ready to step up and do my part as we simultaneously look to the future. I have a strong vision for our future, and part of that vision includes collaborating with higher education to incorporate the auction method of marketing into business programs. I've been a college professor as an adjunct instructor for over 12 years, taught numerous marketing classes without one mention of auctions. And it's time to change that, and I'm excited to tell you that I recently received approval to write a chapter dedicated to auctions in an upcoming textbook. With more Americans attending college than ever before, this is an opportunity to proactively educate our future clients. And the future is ours, to shape together. I will be a voice when you need an idea to be presented or have an issue to be addressed. I promise you that I will serve our collective best interests with the highest level of integrity. In closing, I'd like to thank you for all of your support. And thank you to my mom and dad for pushing me, and I have never been so proud to be your daughter. Thank you to the other candidates for showing our industry that we can be competitors and friends. And thank you to the membership for your consideration. I would greatly appreciate your vote for the position of director for the National Auctioneers Association. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Scott King.
Thank you, NAA leadership and my fellow members. I'm Scott King, candidate number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, this election is really about you. It's who you feel will serve you best and why. My story isn't about my resume for this position, although I have worked auctions for over 40 years. I'm a 4th-generation auctioneer. I've experienced 5 of the 7 stages of an auctioneer's career and can best help you as you advance through your career. I do bring over 20 years of strategic planning and board experience, and I have the leadership skills as demonstrated by continually reinventing our 100-year-old firm to meet our clients' and customers' changing needs. Instead, though, my story is the reason why I want this position that tells you who I am. And it's why, as a shy 7-year-old, I would be on the stand in front of the crowd right beside my dad as he auctioned, when all the other boys were down at the creek skimming stones. And then as an 8th grader, I felt the need to doodle our logo on my notebooks. And when on vacation, I made a beeline to get an auction airbrushed on my t-shirt. My senior year's term paper was the auction method. And then as a freshman in college, I competed on the speech team with the auction alternative. And then why, after only 2 years of college, I felt compelled to get out and go learn my father's 3 generations of auction experience, when most boys didn't want to get out any quicker than they had to. You see, these things didn't make me any better than the other kids, only different. And our friend Steve Proffitt summed it up best when he told me, auctions are your DNA. You see, auctions aren't just what I do for a living. Instead, they are my genetic makeup, like red hair and freckles, which is why these signs showed up early on. Understand, too, I'm not volunteering here out of a sense of obligation or to advance my career. No, I want to do this because of my DNA, and that will make all the difference in the world. My pledge is to keep your best interest foremost as I help carry out the pathways to 2020, and then as we pave the pathways to 2025. But also know this, sometimes you've got to go off-road. And what that means is we've got to flex as your needs change, and they will. But understand, too, I'm not volunteering here out of a sense of obligation. And again, I just ask for your vote for Scott King, candidate number 2, because the future of the NAA matters. Thank you.
The next candidate for director, Denise Rinaldi.
Good morning. My name is Denise. I am CAI, CES. I have taken the ATS and the GPPA. I'm a CAGA appraiser and I'm AARP. I am, like those initials, get lots of good discounts. I am a child of the Most High. I am a daughter of a Baptist preacher. I am a 20-year first-generation auctioneer, following 15 years as a high school teacher. I am partnered with a second-generation auctioneer. We have 3 boys encompassing a third-generation auctioneer, a ringman, and a clerk when they want to be, and a 9-year-old self-proclaimed 4th-generation auctioneer in training. What I would like you to do is all stand. And I'd like you all to welcome each other with a hug. I know that most of you have been hugging for the last 2 or 3 days, but I want to make sure that no one leaves this conference today without a hug. This is the NAA. This is the quintessential essence of the NAA. Our first conference and show was right here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Bracky and Mrs. Rogers were the first ones to welcome us to the NAA with a hug. And every subsequent year, and Bracky, you know I cherish those hugs every year. Sometimes I think we should call this a family reunion instead of conference and show. A few years back, the board of directors implemented a 1-year position elected by the president, and every year Hannes reports back to us how impressed these people are with our sense of family, so our love does show. I have served on several NAA committees. I have been involved in the state level for probably 18 of the 20 years that I've been an auctioneer. I was the first woman president of the California State Auctioneers Association in 2005 through 2007, and I am the current president of the Western States Auction Association. I also serve as secretary to the Fellowship of Christian Auctioneers. I believe altruism is what separates the NA auctioneer apart from any other auctioneer, and that is auctioneers helping auctioneers without regard of what is in it for themselves. Spanky has reminded us that we are loved with his tagline, "Love you, love you." John Nichols has reminded us that we are blessed. I would love the opportunity to work with this board for you in continuing to establish the NAA as the ubiquitous force in the auction industry. My name is Denise. I am an NAA Pro, and I would appreciate your vote for NAA Director. Thank you.
And our final candidate for Director, Jason Winter.
Good morning, NAA family. I am honored to be here today with you, and I'm also honored to have my lovely girls back here, my wife Jennifer, Jocelyn, and Juliana here today. They're great supporters. I'd like to tell you a little story that happened back on a brisk March afternoon in the year 2000. A young family received a phone call from the Department of Family Services, a social worker. The strange thing about that phone call was this family had not spoken with this Department of Family Services in over 2 months. The social worker began to explain that a baby girl had been born the day before, and could that family pick her up tomorrow morning? On another day, a time earlier in March, in 1993, a young man graduated from auction school. He believed that he was a first-generation auctioneer. You see, that young auctioneer started out of auction school with no auction family. We were farmers. He needed someone to watch, model after, ask the simple and hard questions. He needed someone to help him with those tough issues. It was soon after auction school he joined and became a member of this great organization, the National Auctioneers Association. And each of you adopted me as your family member so that I could watch, learn, and model after. I realized then I'm not a first-generation auctioneer. I'm a second, third, fourth-generation auctioneer because of each of you and the adoption that you did for me. A pastor by the name of Willie George from Oklahoma once said, the difference between family and guests, our families have chores to do. You would never ask your guests to do chores. Ladies and gentlemen, as an NAA director, there are chores to do, chores to make all of us better. I would like to ask you to vote for me, Jason Winter, number 9, so that you can come along as we do, because we all have chores to do, because we're family. You asked me what happened at the end of that story, or that story back on that phone call on that brisk March afternoon in 2000. The very next day, that young family picked up a baby girl from the hospital and made her part of our family and gave her the name of Winter. And she's sitting right back there, Juliana Winter. Just like we adopted you, you've adopted me. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all the candidates for your willingness to serve. We appreciate that. First, we only have one candidate for vice president. So I would entertain a motion to elect Scott Schuman, Vice President of the National Auctioneers Association by acclamation? So moved by John Nichols. Seconded by Tom Satterley. All those in favor of electing Scott Schumann, Vice President of the National Auctioneers Association, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Mr. Schumann, congratulations. The motion passes. As Tom stated earlier, as the chairman of the nominating committee, the treasurer serves for 2 years, so there's not an open position for a treasurer. Mr. Ford, thank you so very much. Please give him a big hand for serving his term to completion. Moving on, as Tim Luke so eloquently stated, Mr. Teapot himself, this election will be conducted through a paper ballot. You have in your packet 2 ballots. Please complete the ballot by filling in the circles with a number 2 pencil. An ink pen will not be counted. Please, once again, the ballot with the star, using a number 2 pencil to vote for the candidates of your choice. Also, you will notice there are 4 candidates. There are only 2 positions available. If you vote for more than 2 candidates, your ballot will be disqualified. Once again, please vote at this time. Tricia Brower, number 6. Scott King, number 7. Denise Rinaldi, number 8. And Jason Winter, number 9. They're posted on my right and your left of screens. Please understand the ballot with the star circle, fill in 2 positions only with a number 2 lead pencil, 6, 7, 8, or 9. Once your ballot completed, if you would please pass it to one of the center aisles. Before I close the voting, I would like to make the comment 3 times. Have all those that wish to vote voted? Have all those that wish to vote voted? Have all those that have wished to vote voted? I hereby declare the voting closed for director. I encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, not to leave the room. In case there is a runoff tie, the directors, it's possible to have a runoff, so in order to support the candidates of your choice, please stay in the room. While they're counting the votes, we have several reports that we think you would be interested in. But first, I would like to congratulate our incoming president, Mr. John Nichols, present him with the 2016-2017 President's Pin.
Thank you, Spanky. This will be brief, but to the NAA Board of Directors, the Foundation Board of Trustees, the EI Trustees, the NAA Auxiliary, and you, my NAA family, thank you very much. I'll have more to say tonight at the gala, but if you'll just allow me a few short words. Last year, I was honored when you voted me in as Vice President of this organization that I've grown to love and respect, and now I'm on the onset of my term as President of the NAA. I'm deeply moved. I'm blessed. I'm thankful for your confidence, your trust that you've shown in me. I've been very fortunate to work with individuals this year, as well as past leadership who have paved the way and made this organization what it is today. My promise to you is this, that I will continue to work hard towards making the NAA reach its vision of having all of us as members, the preferred auction professionals, used in the marketplace. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to work and lead the NAA this year. I'll work hard to retain your confidence. One of the privileges that I have as president, and this isn't a mandatory thing, each president has the opportunity to do this if he or she wishes, and that is to ask a person to be a presidential appointee for a year to our board. I asked this person back, I believe in January or February, and because he is so busy with many other endeavors, I knew that my chances of getting him to say yes were slim and none, but I knew if I never asked, I knew what the answer would always be. And I called my good friend, Doak Lambert, down in the Republic of Texas. And for those of you that do not know Doak, he is the reason Wendy Lambert is Wendy Lambert, and she is the reason Doak Lambert is Doak Lambert. Doak is one of the leading livestock auctioneers on the planet. He is a leading automobile auctioneer. He is a multiple business owner. He owns a bidding platform for livestock auctions. Doak is an entrepreneur. Doak's a thinker. Doak is a phenomenal listener. He's a visionary. He is a phenomenal businessman. And at this time, would you please, by your applause, welcome the newest member to the board and my presidential appointee, my friend Doak Lambert. And it'll only cost me $20,000 this year to get him to do that, if I'm lucky. I'm very pleased with the board members that we have remaining, and I know there is a no-lose situation with whomever you as the membership will elect to join our board. I look forward to serving with them. I look forward to continuing to serve you. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, John. I look forward to my new position as past president, or as a bylaws revision may say, chairman of the board. At this time, I would like to ask our current treasurer, Mr. Devin Ford, to give the treasury report.
Thank you, President Asseter. Members of the National Auctioneers Association, please make yourselves comfortable as for the next couple hours, we review line by line your financials. I am joking. I am very proud to say that as soon as your financials are audited and made complete, they are posted on auctioneers.org. So not only are you allowed to see those today, but throughout the year. So please visit there. You can see all the details about our financials and financial reports. I would like to recognize an extremely important committee. This committee is very important to the system of financial checks and balances for our association, and that is the Audit Committee. I would like to thank the chairman, Kurt Kiefer, immediate past treasurer, Chris Pratt, David Hart, and Walt Driggers for assisting as the NAA Audit Committee. Please give them a round of applause. I would also be very remiss as a treasurer to stand here and not thank a staff member who is critically important to our accounting and to our financials, and that is Ms. Rhonda Truitt. Please give her an appreciation round of applause. This year we worked with IFT & Company, a certified public accounting group in Overland Park, Kansas. IFT specializes in working with nonprofit groups. IFT reported no significant difficulties in performing the audit or any disagreement with our management during the course of the audit. They declared that the financial statements of our association are fairly represented under the auditing standards generally accepted in the United States. In other words, we had a good, clean audit. For 2015, we reported assets totaling $2,126,465 and liabilities of $1,477,669. And I'm very proud to say that in a year where our board voted to set aside a line item in our budget for a surplus, we still managed a surplus of nearly $64,000. You are very blessed to have a board that is extremely financially conscious and who is acting as a good steward of your funds. We are committed to keeping NAA strong financially. And having said that, we will also keep investigating ways to provide benefits to our members. We are a nonprofit organization, but that does not mean that we can't make money. But we should and are prepared to spend our funds on improving the lives of our members. It is a pleasure to serve with this board, and they make the job of treasurer, our staff and our board make the job of treasurer much easier than it could be. But as your treasurer, I am very much accountable to you, our members, and I would encourage you, when you have questions or concerns about any of our financials or our budget, to approach me, to contact me, and I would love to talk with you about our financials. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your treasurer. This is my report.
Nice job. Thank you. Nice job. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer Devin Ford. And I'm sure as he made the comment, if any of you have any questions about the financials, please see them at auctioneers.org, and then Mr. Ford would be more than happy to speak with you. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Education Institute Chair of Trustees for his report, Mr. Jason Winter.
Good morning again. And thank you, Mr. President Assiter. The Education Institute has a responsibility and privilege of oversight of the NAA education programs. Our responsibility is both the association and the industry. We believe we've been able to elevate both this year. Our events this year were successful by all measures. We hosted more than 80 attendees at the Benefit Auction Summit in New Orleans. Benefit auctioneers. This year's summit will be held in San Diego, August 29th and 30th, so be sure to register. In December, our yearly Designation Academy was well attended and featured a new event for NAA, a summit held during the Designation Academy. The 2015 Real Estate Summit developed into more extensive topics and was very well received. The trustees are considering other events during Designation Academy in the future. In March, our CAI Class 1 was just 5 students from selling out. And our Class 2 returned with more students than any other in 10 years. Congratulations, class of 2017. I knew you were there. This was also the second year for CAI's capstone project, the Business Plan Defense. And if you need a 20 or something, I'm going off script, so if the foundation needs a 20 for me to go off script, Hannes, I have to do it. For any of you that have been to CAI in the past or are planning, you need to plan for this. This capstone project I saw 2 years ago when I sat in on the class. I stepped in on the class and watched this. And I realized that in any industry, if you're trying to grow, build your business, or do anything in any industry in the world, and you had the opportunity to build a business plan and present it in front of some of the top #1 leaders in that industry, what would that cost? It doesn't even, your tuition to CAI does not even touch what it would cost to try to go into that industry, to that level of leadership, to present a business plan that they can critique, talk to you about, give you sporting advice, whatever it might be. It's a great class. If you haven't been there to CAI, you need to sign up now. It is a huge opportunity for your business and your life. Our current students prepare to present business plans to their class and a panel of experts, as I said, in that field, to a panel of experts in that field. This year was also a milestone year for CAI, as it was the 40th anniversary of the program. We celebrated with a fantastic gala put on again by Class 2, class of 2017, and with CAI and with the CAI Next. The CAI Next committee, chaired by Peter Garris, put a fantastic 2-day program together with rapid-fire sessions for every specialty. Those sessions will begin to appearing soon on a new project that you'll see coming to fruition soon on the NAA website, the Micro-Learning Library. The library is a task-oriented library of short videos, no more than 10 minutes in length, focusing on just one task. That task might be learning how to do a Facebook post for real estate, lotting items for personal property, putting on a fund-a-need, or Rob Wyman, just how to put up a tent. The library will be crowdsourced, meaning that the videos and submissions are by your fellow auctioneers. Our first group of content creators are hard at work. Expect the Micro-Learning Library to fill up quickly. One of the things we pride ourselves in NAA education is being nimble. And we're just demonstrating that again with the development of a new designation. At the World Auto Auctioneers Championship, a group of contract auctioneers came to us with a need, auction for contract auctioneers. And the EI developed a plan, presented it to the board of directors, and are working on a new designation for contract auctioneers that will begin in just a few weeks. We expect to offer that designation course for the first time in December. None of these programs happen without the hard work of a lot of people. And though time doesn't allow me to thank them individually, I'd like to show my appreciation for all the volunteers who have served on the education committees over the past year. And none of this happens with some extraordinary people helping to decide priorities and programs. I'd like to thank our outgoing trustees for their hard work and service. Peter Garris, CAI, CES, and Rob Wyman, CAI, AARE, AMM, BAS, CES, GPPA. I'd also like to recognize the trustees who will be remaining for the upcoming year. Janine Huseman, CAI, AMM, BAS, who will be serving as your vice chair. Andy Imholtz, AMM, BAS. Jimmy Dean Coffey, CAI, AARE, AMM, BAS, CES, MPPA. And Tom Jordan, CAI, AARE, AMM, CES, MPPA. I'd like to also welcome our newest trustees beginning this year. Melissa Davis, CAI, AARE, BAS. and Phil Gableman, CAI, AMM, GPPA. In closing, I would like to thank one last group, you, the NAA members. You do two things that are extremely important. First, you support NAA education, and we thank you for being there. You elevate both the association and the industry by becoming better auction professionals. Your reputation affects every other auction profession. Their reputation, and by elevating yourself, you elevate all of us. Thank you for your continued support of NAA and NAA educational programs.
As you can hear from our Treasurer Devin and from our Chair of the EI Jason, the NAA is in great shape. We continue to focus on your vision and our vision of ensuring that NAA members are the preferred auction professional in the marketplace. But we have two other committees that we don't have time to allow committee reports. So I'd like to brag on those two committees for a moment if I could. The Promotions Committee and the Advocacy Committee. Last year, these two committees' task force sent a recommendation to our board that strategic initiatives be managed by committees, and these committees did an outstanding job. Not only did these groups pull together a structure of governance, but they each individually had their own successes. For example, last September, the Governance Committee thought it would be beneficial for us and as an organization to have NAA Day on the Hill. More than 50 auction professionals and members of this organization gathered together in Washington, D.C. on their own time and on their own dime to meet with congressional representatives, so that these representatives could understand that auctions can be an outstanding way to transfer assets into cash, and that these professionals one-on-one can facilitate this process of transfer the best. We received tremendous feedback from our congressmen and from our senators on how important it was for us to get to know them and not only come to them when we had troubles, but to come to them beforehand and introduce ourselves and make known that we as a group supported them. This year, on September the 8th, we are supplementing our visits to Washington, D.C. and informing our constituents' successes of evidence by articles in the Auctioneer and by voluntary positions. A special thank you to the Advocacy Committee led by Mr. David Whitley. David, right down here on the end. Please give him and his committee, and if you're on that committee, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Our Promotions Committee also saw tremendous success this year. It was chaired by Tim Mast, and one of the biggest successes we had this year was celebrating National Auctioneers Week. The hundreds of you and members across this great nation that participated in social media campaigns of educating all members, all peoples, of what auctions and NAA was doing was tremendous. You highlighted that indeed auctions work, particularly when held by NAA pros. Hashtag, 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 hashtag. Individuals who posted photos of successful auction, photos of themselves with government aid leaders, signing proclamations, changed the profile picture on NAA to the blue logo. It was great logging into Facebook and seeing all those hundreds and hundreds of blue logos on their profile pictures. Thank you, Tim, and thank you for your association. Next week, we'll be changing the layout of the homepage of the National Auctioneers Association, auctioneers.org. When you go there, you'll be asked to select if you're an NAA member or not. Those people who are not will be taken to a page full of resources about auctions, how auctions work, and why persons should be using the auction method of marketing, and also about NAA membership. NAA members will be taken to a page just for members. This is a response to some recommendations made by our members to more appropriately identify members and the public. All of those resources are for you, the NAA member, making sure that you are the preferred auction professional in your marketplace. That's our vision, and I believe this year we will take significant steps to make that vision become a reality. Again, please don't forget to go by on one of the two boards posted and make your comments of where you see this industry, this association in 2025. It sounds like it's a long ways off, but as I come to the end of my term, it's very, very, very soon. Our industry is changing fast. Our association is changing fast, and we need you to help us understand where those changes are and where we're going. Finally, I have wonderful and great news to report. NAA staff has recently signed a contract with the Hyatt Regency, who will host the 2018 International Conference and Show in Jacksonville, Florida. That's worthy. I'm telling you, I love that. If you haven't been to Jacksonville recently, the city is wonderful. And I would personally like to thank, and if you have the opportunity to thank Joyce Peterson, she worked diligently to keep our roommates at below $140. That's great news. Now, if you would, I'd like for you to recognize and thank by your applause someone that's been very special to me this year, someone that has kept me on track, kept me on vision, kept me motivated, and I would like for her to present the CEO report, Ms. Hannah Scombest.
I won't take up much of your time because I know I just got a text saying that Tim Luke was on his way and would be here shortly. So I know everybody is eager to hear the election results. I would like to go back to Spanky's discussion about the promotions committee and the work that they did with the National Auctioneers Week. It was really exciting, and what a lot of you may not have known is that you were participating in a much bigger picture. By doing everything that we were talking about doing, changing your profile picture, using the hashtags NAA Pro and hashtag auctions work, you were really galvanizing an industry. And what we saw, because we were also behind the scenes, we were doing things with paid social media advertising. Now, I've sat in AMM, and I've had a couple of the staff members who have sat in AMM, and what we have found is that stuff that John Schultz and Ryan George and Robert Mayo are teaching, it works. It really does. Because our analytics on our paid advertising were out the roof. The other thing, and Spanky mentioned this yesterday, is that we are using our partnership with USA Today more and more. We've had articles in USA Today about benefit auctioneers, about real estate auctioneers, even about the IAC Live, which is going to be occurring all day tomorrow. And we're going to be very excited about watching who watches us, because we've been advertising that some. We've been advertising it to the Grand Rapids area. I want to thank particularly Darren Mears, because he did an interview for us. We also had Peter Garris and Tammy Tislin, who have been out on the television circuit already this week. We've gotten great exposure this week alone. So I'm very excited about that. And what I'd like to do is not just recognize Tim Mast, but I'd like to ask the Promotions Committee to also stand. If you're serving on the Promotions Committee, please stand. Thank you, Barbara. Thanks, guys. This group is working even at this conference, and so I really appreciate the work that y'all have done. I also want to welcome, we have been live streaming this event. And tonight's program, the President's Gala, will also be live streamed. So to all of those people who are watching at home, and we know that Paul C. Bear, our past president, is one of them. Everybody say, hi, Paul. Hi, Paul. That's for you, Paul C. So, and everybody else who is watching us from home, thank you very much for your encouragement and your support. I believe I saw Tim Luke in. So I will turn this back over to Spanky. If you have any questions about anything going on at the NAA, please don't hesitate to stop and ask me. I love talking about this organization. Thank you so much.
Before we have Tim give his report, he needs to confer just a moment with our CEO to make sure that everything is in order. While they're doing that, I would like to remind you that next year, our conference and show will be in Columbus, Ohio. You'll hear more about that conference at the IAC tomorrow, but if you would please mark your dates now, because the conference and show will be a little earlier next year. It will be July 11th through the 15th. Once again, conference and show 2017 will be in Columbus, Ohio, July 11th to July 15th. Looks like they have completed, so if you would please, Mr. Tim Luke, give your report of the election committee.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Spanky. First of all, before I get started, I would like to thank my elections committee. Could I get a round of applause for them getting up this morning at 6:30, helping out? They're all standing in the back. Thank you all very much. This is auctioneers helping other auctioneers, which I love. Aha! Yes. Now, I will read off the candidates and the votes. First of all, we have Tricia Brower, 313 votes. Scott King, 331 votes. Denise Rinaldi, 89 votes. And Jason Winter, 319 votes.
Could I have that, please? So it comes down to Scott and Jason. Yep. Thank you. As president, as a result from the election committee, I declare that Scott King and Jason Winter directors for 2016-2017. Congratulations to both. Once again, congratulations to Mr. Scott Schuman, his election to Vice President. Congratulations to Mr. King and Mr. Winter on their election to directors. We would like to encourage you, if you have any desire to serve on a committee, don't forget to go to auctioneers.org. There's a volunteer section in the members area. Please volunteer for a committee. If you have run for any office in the past and been not elected, we would ask you to please consider running again, whether you'd like to be on the advocacy committee, the promotions committee, the EI trustees, the election committee, any committee. Please, 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 we are looking for you to be involved with us. So once again, congratulations to our new elected finishers. Since there is no unfinished business at this point, I would like to move, as our agenda states, to new business. This is limited to items for discussion in the form of a motion. The form of a motion. If you have a new business motion, if you would please come to the microphone, state your name, state where you're from, and make that motion at this time. Please remember, the microphones are available in both of the aisles here, not on the outset.
Rob Wyman, St. Louis, Missouri. I move that we dispense with having membership cards in the interest of saving money for the association.
That would be something that the board would vote on, Rob, and we have that in our discussion form.
You can't do that from the floor?
We can do it from the floor if there's a second, but I don't think that this is a.
Okay.
I think that's a board decision instead of a membership decision.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion. The motion is that the NAA board look into the opportunity to hire a recognized polling organization to bring the data and the statistics of the auction industry up to date.
If you would please, Mr. Higginbotham, I know who you are, but state your name and where you're from.
Marty Higginbotham, Lakeland, Florida.
Thank you. Do you have that written so we could get it properly?
I do, but you can't read it.
Then if you would please restate your motion.
I'll get it to her, however, okay?
Okay, but I need to restate the motion. And
Okay, restate the motion. That the NAA board look into the opportunity to hire a recognized polling organization to bring up to date the statistics for the auction industry.
It has been seconded. It has been moved by Mr. Marty Higginbotham, seconded by Chris Pratt.
And may I give a comment about the motion?
I would. We will open the motion up for discussion at this time, and the floor recognizes Marty Higginbotham.
Thank you. We, a number of years ago, hired a polling organization to do statistics on the auction industry. I realized at that time that it cost a few dollars that perhaps we didn't have, but I think now we do have. And I think it's incredibly important for all of us, and I know it was incredibly helpful to me in making presentations to the Realtors Association and to various associations that I speak to on an annual basis. It was really helpful to know what the auction industry is, what it's all about, how many dollars we raise, how many dollars we raise for charity, as an example. We probably are now into the $16–18 billion a year just for charity, but I don't know that. And it would be nice to have a recognized polling organization's name behind it. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional discussion on the motion on the floor? Question has been called on the motion. Can I have your copy to read it? Or can I read it? It is moved and seconded that the NAA board look into the opportunity to hire a recognized holding organization to identify data needed in the auction industry. Polling organization, excuse me. I'm going to repeat the motion. There's a motion on the floor and been seconded that the NAA board look into the opportunity to hire a recognized polling organization to identify data needed in the auction industry. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. All those opposed signify by saying aye. The motion passes. The NAA board will look into hiring a recognized polling organization to identify data needed in the auction industry. Is there any other new business?
Morning, Mr. President. My name's Dan Stanovich. I'm from Mystic, Connecticut.
The floor recognizes Mr. Dan.
I would like the board to consider looking into the northeast quadrant of the United States, namely Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, all that whole quarter up there. I've been an auctioneer since '92. I graduated with Gordon Taylor.
If you would please state your motion, and then we'll open it up for discussion.
I would like you to look into opening up a New England association, possibly bringing all those states together to have a New England association.
It has been moved that the board look into having a New England association. Do I hear a second?
Thank you.
I hear a second. So let me. It doesn't matter. Okay. So the motion is that the NAA board look into opening a Northeast association. We'll now open the floor for discussion on the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion for the NAA board to looking into opening a Northeast association? All right. The question was to you, Dan, is the board looking in? Are you recommending in your motion that the board assist in creating a new association in the Northeast, or assist the organization that's already available in the Northeast? Is that correct, Mr. Wilson? Thank you. Dan?
Either or, sir. Either assist the ones that are existing and get them active, or create a new one. Either one.
That's not the way the motion reads.
All right, then a New England association. That sounds better.
The answer is, Mr. Wilson, that the motion reads that the NAA board look into opening a Northeast association, and for clarification, that is a new association.
I think Tom B. Williams.
The board recognizes Mr. Williams from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I think the gentleman has a great idea. Obviously, we need strong local representation wherever that is. But I do think it has to originate from the area. So I think they have to bring a plan to the board, and then the board assists them in making it happen. But I don't think it works well from the top down. I think it only works well from the bottom up.
Is there any other discussion on the motion? The board recognizes the gentleman from Florida.
Chad Johnson from Florida. Understand the concern by this motion. However, I'd like to remind this group that we are the National Auctioneers Association, encompassing the United States and the nation. As far as segmenting, I don't think it's in the best interest of this group or this board of directors to allocate time and energy for that matter. We are a grassroots organization, so I would encourage us as auctioneers, helping auctioneers, to help that group or that region form and assimilate and encourage them to be a part, but I don't think that it would be a good use of our time and resources to have the board look at starting a new association or a fragment association that would not be part or could separate from the NAA. Make sure that we keep in mind that we are the National Association of Auctioneers and we are all one body, and that is what this board is generally directed to do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
State your name and where you're from, please.
Benny Fisher from Florida.
The chair recognizes Mr. Fisher.
Have we not learned from the past that anything that has two heads is a monster? It happens in a marriage, it happens in a business, and it happens in an association, and it happens in a church. It is not in your purview to do what you've been asked to do. And we should have learned from AMI, CAI, and NAA, and the divorce that took 20 years to reconcile. against which I prophesied that, by the way. Anyway, we're now one, and I think it's a laudable thought, but I would want the gentleman to bring back recommendations from each of the states in the Northeast Quadrant, that they are in a unanimity to want that to happen, and then we can assist. But we are not in the business of creating associations other than the states and this collective and august body that meets once a year. I personally would just be violently opposed to it on that basis alone. Thank you.
Okay. Please state your name and where you're from.
Michael Chambers, Atkinson, New Hampshire.
The chair recognizes Mr. Chambers.
Thank you. As Vice President of the Massachusetts Auctioneers Association, I would just like to state for the membership that at state leadership this year, Hannes, Tom Satterley, and many board members have reached out, understand that we do need support from the NAA, and has offered full support to us. We are currently trying to bring New England together under one conference, but currently trying to hold each state's own identity. So I would like to thank again the NAA for reaching out to us, offering full support. Dan, I appreciate your motion, but I'd like to state that for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would please state your name and where you're from.
Tom Satterley, Portland, Maine.
The chair recognizes Mr. Satterley.
Here's what we all know. Associations are struggling. State associations, regional associations, national associations.
Mr. Satterley, if you would please raise the microphone just here. Thank you.
What we know is associations are struggling. State associations, regional associations, national associations are struggling. And what we need to do is work together. And so what the board is going to do is they're going to create a task force to work with state associations, regional associations, in order to find consensus and common ground so that working together we can create from the ground up. And the task force is going to be created. It's going to be held by Scott, and it's going to work with the continuing associations. These comments are right on point, and your board is already visionary and working together with state associations will come with a conclusion and a recommendation. Thank you for your service.
Is there any other discussion on the motion? State your name and where you're from, please.
Darren Mears, South Carolina.
The chair recognizes Mr. Mears.
Our association's in the same boat, and like Tom said, there's plenty of those. We've got a very good resource sitting right here on the front row. That's the president of the Western States Association that helped bring multiple states together in this same fashion, and I believe Denise would be one that would be very helpful in this process.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on the motion that's on the floor?
Hi, I'm Ailey Byers from New Hampshire. I just want to reiterate what Michael said. The state associations, I'm actually president of the New Hampshire Association. We have been discussing amongst the leadership about all of New England about getting together, so we have been working on the ground level doing it, and we are been reaching out to about the Western group, so we are in the process of working on it, and we would love all the help you guys can get us, so thanks.
Any other discussion on the motion? The question has been called. I'll restate the motion, and then we will vote. The NAA Board looking to opening a new Northeast Association. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. All the opposed, please signify by saying aye. The motion fails. Any other new business? Is there any other new business? Seeing none, we will close new business and move to the next agenda item. As we conclude, I would like to ask outgoing immediate past President Tom Satterlee to have one final task, and that is to give the oath of office to our incoming officers and directors of the National Auctioneers Association. So if you would please, new officers, make your way to the front, face the audience. Also, please, Doak Lambert as the presidential appointee. Chair of the Education Institute, Darren Mears. 2016-2017 Foundation Representative, Tommy Rao.
It is my pleasure and privilege to officially install you as officers and directors of the National Auctioneers Association. I congratulate you on the opportunity which has been given to you to serve your organization. I know that you will be faithful in the performance of your duties, looking always to the interest and welfare of the National Auctioneers Association as a whole. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the office to which you have been elected, conforming to the Articles of Incorporation, bylaws, and Code of Ethics of the National Auctioneers Association? If so, please respond, I do. May I personally extend my congratulations to each one of you. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the officers and directors of the National Auctioneers Association.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, all the members. Thank you for the directors and officers for your outstanding service you have done in the past and for those in the future. I now declare the 2016 meeting of the National Auctioneers Association be adjourned. A quick reminder to all the board of directors and officers, if you would please come to the left, my left, your right, for photos. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We will see you throughout the day, and we hope you enjoy the rest of conference and show.